Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the first video in the restoration series of a Grundig Satellit 650 Pro. This is one that I've wanted for some time. It's one that I want to add to the collection of the 2100, the 2000, the 3400. The Satellite 3400 I use all the time, so I'm expecting this one to actually be a little bit more feature rich than that one. But unfortunately, I have no experience on this radio, and this one has a few quirks. It was advertised as not working. I'll explain that as the video goes along. And as you can see, I've actually been in there already, and I can confirm it's not working. And I can also confirm that I've got a lot of research to do. So this project might be interspersed with other projects as we go along, but I do want to get to the end of this. I want this to be another one of those similar to the 2100 and the Satellite 3400 that serves as sort of a reference, sometimes on what not to do, but as a sort of a reference on the net for anybody who wants to do the same thing. So yeah, if this thing interests you, stick around, enjoy the video. Before continuing, I just want to tell you about the sponsor of this video, PCBWay. My modest needs have been more or less limited to the simple two-layer boards at incredible prices and really quick turnaround time. But depending on what you want, you can go into the advanced PCB section, where you can get anything from rigid flex PCBs, multi-layers, up to 40-layer boards. Anything that you need, I'm sure you'll find there. They also do PCB assembly, so you can take your prototype all the way from design through to the manufacturing and assembly. Whatever you need for your prototype, you'll get with them. Links are in the description below. Every restorer at some point in time bites off more than he can chew. Now, usually they find this out after the fact. Me, I'm expressing a fear. I'm expressing a fear that this may be the one that is more than I can chew. But I'm going to try it nevertheless. However, I have to warn you that my confidence level is actually quite low on this one. And the reason is this thing involves a digital section as well as an analog section. This is the Grundig Satellit 650 Professional. This is one that I expect will be the top end of my collection for a while, unless I get an 800 sometime. But that probably is not something that's going to happen in the very near future. You see, I have actually been using the 3400, the Satellite 3400. I won't say daily, but almost daily, and I'm incredibly satisfied with it. But I've always wanted one of these, and this one came to me. I bought it from Germany. And the reason I bought it from Germany is that it makes importing it a lot easier. We don't have the customs issues. I've just had some really serious customs issues with a radio that someone's sending me from Canada to restore. And customs just doesn't understand that you can receive something from overseas that you're going to return, and therefore it's not a purchase. So they want you to pay VAT on it as if you were buying it. Anyway, that's the situation. And I've actually had someone offer me for free one of these, but it was the 600 model, but it was also from Canada. So I had to, unfortunately, decline that one. But I bought this one, and it came to me as not working. It looks pretty good. It's got everything there. You've got all the buttons. Some of the push buttons have lost their numbering. So this one's obviously seen quite a bit of use. We've also got another issue here, and that is that this central push button knob has come off. Now this is what you use to set the automatic pre-selector on this thing. I have done a bit of reading on this. I have an idea of how this works. I've also got the original user manual, not the service manual, but it's the user manual, which is pretty good. You can get information on this. I've downloaded all the schematics and service instructions and so on, and they are extensive, really extensive, because what you do here is you actually select the frequency here and it shoots off. It actually moves the dial to the particular position. You then make an adjustment to that position, and then you got fine tuning in the middle. So the pre-selection is giving you a start on the tuning function, and then you finish it off with the fine tuning. It'll give you a digital readout. So it's got all the business. Let me show you what it's got here. It's got automatic, I presume that's with timer. That's off, that's on, that's automatic. Headphones, it's got dual speaker external, and it's got dual internal speakers. So it's got a treble in here, a light and battery indicator. You've got your ANL is, what is it, noise cancelling, I think it is. Volume control, bass, treble, 3 bandwidths. So narrow, medium and broad. We've become quite used to that on the Grundigs. There is an RF gain control. So this is with automatic gain control active, and you can put manual gain on here. This is very useful for SSB decoding. On AM mode, you've got AM, lower sideband, upper sideband, and then you've got the fine tuning for the BFO. That's all well and good. There's also a direction finding function here. You can have a direction finding antenna connected in there. So you put broadcast or direction finding. We leave that down here. We've got the rough tuning, what is it? The broad tuning, and then the fine tuning over here. You've got on time, off time. So this thing can be put on when you go to sleep, store stations, date, time, frequency. That's when you select there and you hit the frequency. You can get the display showing you date, time, or frequency. There's your display. There's your tuning indicator, as well as your battery and your battery and tuning indicator. Then you've got external input, auxiliary, long wave, medium wave, short wave, FM. Nothing unusual there. We've got the antenna. The antenna is in very good shape. This button here is what you press when you want to activate or deactivate the automatic pre-selector. Okay. If you look at the back, nothing unusual again. That's the internal, external antenna. There's your connections for the external antenna. That's another one. This will be your line in, and this will be tape out, and I presume line in as well. You've got your external speakers over here. You've got your power connector and this is your mains. There's a main selector here. And you've got, I think it's 12 or 16 volts. I'm trying to read this, 10 to 15 volts DC. And we've got our power cord over here. And I believe there's a battery compartment here, and I'm not sure how you get that out. Closed. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Bring it to the middle, and there's your battery. What is this? This, I presume, goes here. So there are a few things here that are loose. I'm not sure where this goes. There's something clicking around inside there, which means that I'm a little bit reluctant to switch it on right away, because when I shake it a bit, it's making a noise, and it wasn't just this thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this project one step at a time. As I said, I may have bitten off more than I can chew, but that's what makes this sort of hobby fun. You try and develop your skills. You try and accept challenges that are difficult. If they're easy, they get boring. And at the same time, I hope to leave some sort of documentation or documented restoration steps for any of you who may want to do the same thing and who may need some help. I found one series on the net, and it's on the 600, and it's in German, but I've used the translate function. So I've got an indication on how to go about this, and that's what I'm going to do. But first of all, I'm going to take this thing out of the chassis and see what the hell is loose in there. This does not bode well. This thing's completely loose over here. I think it's just a switch at the back there, but I'll have to take it one step at a time. The next step is get it out of the chassis. Let's get on with it. As you can see, I've been quite busy. I've removed the radio from the enclosure. Or I guess I should say I've removed the two parts of the enclosure from the radio. This one's very simple. Let me just quickly describe to you what I had to do. There are literally 3 screws, one here, one there, and one on that end that you remove. These are the 3 over here. And then the back end just flips up and out. No problems at all, just comes out very easily. Then you remove all the knobs, they came out very easily. And then you remove the tuning knobs. Now, there I had a little bit more of a challenge, but it ended up coming out. I was a bit worried that I was breaking something because it was so stiff, but it finally came out. And that way the front cover comes off and you're left with the bare radio. Now, I found a few rather interesting things. These 2 pieces were just lying in the back. And I'm a little concerned because this is one of those little pulleys and I can't see where it comes from. I've checked the entire radio. I'm sure I'll find it, but I can't see where it comes from. I also can't see where that piece comes from, but again, as we go cleaning, I'll find it somewhere. The other thing I found, which is a little bit more concerning, is that all the rubber here has degraded. Now, I did read that this is common. This, if I just move my finger along, it'll all come off. So I'm not doing it right now, but it's all rotten away. And I believe there are two ways of resolving this. One of them is to actually replace the speaker. According to some of the forums I've read up on, there is a Visitron speaker that fits on here. The other one is to recone this. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to tackle that, but we'll see how we get along. And what else did I find? This switch was just hanging loose over here. Now this does go in here. This is the switch, there we go, that actually lets you activate the automatic mechanism, and it seems to be working. It just clips in there. The other thing is this antenna was like this, which is a little bit odd. Don't know why it would be like that, because normally it would be straight down. How you did that, I don't know, because when you pull this antenna up, you can then bend it over, but it should be straight in here. Other than that, everything inside here seems to be intact. And I'm tempted to power it on. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it on dim bulb, put power in there, and I'm going to power it up, see what we get. Maybe we'll get lucky. Okay, I'm ready. I've plugged it in. I've got it on dim bulb. I've got it on maximum restriction. What can happen, right? Ew. Oh, something's come up. 0, 0, 0. It's just stuck on long wave. That didn't do much, did it? What is that? It's off. Well, all the segments seem to be lining up here, and that's usually one of the problems you can have, but nothing else is working. I wonder if this is on auto. Let's try that. It's asking for battery. I think maybe the battery needs to be on. Long wave, it's actually on long wave. Oh, okay. That's the fine tuning on long wave. The main tuning there has no effect on the dial. I'm not sure that it's supposed to. If I click on here, I get auto pre-select over there, and I think I heard a buzz. I think the motor's trying. I can just hear it. Yeah, I can hear it. See, if I dial in this, that should try and catch up. So I think the motor's trying to work. I think maybe the rubber band, what is it? Oy, words fail me. It's probably loose. But can I get anything else here? Okay, that's medium wave. Yep, it's definitely trying. And this thing, let's put the antenna up a bit. I know there's a station on 88. I'm going to go to 88. And it seems to be receiving because it's showing as I put the antenna up, it's actually showing the field strength on that station. There's another one on 89.3. So the rotary encoder is working and it's showing me a strong station. So FM is receiving. I wonder if medium wave, if I go to 1530, which is the local, the Madeiran AM station, I don't see anything here, but that doesn't mean much. Okay, so what have we got here? Rotary encoder is working. The pre-select doesn't seem to be. Let's try 1 megahertz frequency. It tries. It actually tries. All right, let me try again. I'm listening for that noise. It's trying to spin this. So I think what it's trying to do is actually move this along, but the thing is loose. But I hear absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I've got it on internal speaker. So I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Obviously, this is the digital section, which is always, it was going to be a bit of a quandary trying to sort it out, but I wanted to get reception. And I think that I'm going to tackle the same way I tackle everything else. I'm going to, well, obviously refer to the service manual and the schematics, try and figure out how this thing is wired up, what works with what and without what. In other words, can I get the radio to work without any of this auto pre-select and all that jazz? I wonder if I put it on FM. Oh, by the way, this is only for long wave, medium wave, and short wave. FM does not have a physical dial. It's all digital. So I wanted to check if I can tune in, if I got anything over here. Let's put the antenna up and tune like that. Well, let's try, what are we trying? No, it's not liking that. Let's try 15.0. I think that'll give us 15 megahertz. Yeah, it does. Okay. Now, can I tune around here and get any indication on there? I have no indication that that's actually working like the FM is. So, okay, one step at a time. Power supply, power amp. Now, I've got this here is for auxiliary input. I can actually feed a signal in the back there and see if it comes out here. I want to put a battery in the back here for the display. That might have something to do with it. I read somewhere that you shouldn't take the display battery out. That might have to do with it. Maybe it's just to keep the memory in place. I'm not sure. But yeah, this thing is interesting. Let me show you the back. Okay, this looks deceptively simple, and I'm sure it is not. But everything is visible. This up here seems to be the entire RF board. I presume the IFs are in there, all the control or adjustment points, there are holes all over there. A few ICs here, I'm not sure what they're doing, but they're all there and all accessible, and I think this is actually quite easy to remove. Then we've got the boards at the bottom. We've got that mechanism over here, which is the, yeah, this is the pre-selector thing. So it moves your tuning condenser. There's also a little potentiometer here, which moves in harmony with the pre-selector. And I think it's this gear here. And I know that, well, you've got a digital system, and the way it works is you move it to one end of the dial, and you should get across two contacts here somewhere. I'm not sure which ones now. You should get 00, 000. You can get that on the dial. When you move it to the opposite end, you should get 255. So that's your 8-bit digital extension. And then what this does is, depending on where you are in between, after you've aligned those, after you've programmed those two positions as 000 and 255, anywhere in between, it gives you a voltage which goes through an ADC and then moves this appropriately to the position that it's supposed to move. Now there's a belt down here which is very, very loose. I can see that. I think that's what's trying to move but slips. And you can change this belt. Apparently it's quite an intricate process, but I'm sure we can get it done if we have to. As I said, I'm going to take this slow, but I'm not sure how slow. That back there seems to be the power board. I think I see a big capacitor over there. I'm not sure what the caps are like on this thing. It's not that complex. It doesn't seem as complex as I expected it to, because it's all sort of separate. And let me look on the underside. Let's see how accessible these boards are. Well, they all seem to be fairly accessible. They've got these clips. I presume you remove the nuts that are holding those pots in place, and then this thing comes out. And all the boards, all of them seem to be accessible from the underside. We'll have to see just how simple or complex that is, but I think the first one I'm interested in is this one. Well, it has to be the biggest one, doesn't it? The power supply and power amp stage, because I'm getting absolutely nothing. But obviously what I'm going to do is feed an audio tone at the back and see if I can get anything out. You know, it could be the selector switches, it could be the there's actually a mute function on here. I know that if you start spinning that fine-tuning very, very fast, after every 20 kilohertz or so, it mutes and then comes back on. So the mute might be active, for example, but those are all things I think we can come to. And as I go through this, and as I start analyzing different sections, I'll find where that broken piece comes from. I thought I'd found it already. And also, as I said, that little spindle, that little pulley, which is a bit strange because all the cords on here seem to be in place. So I don't understand where that pulley comes from. But as I go through this, including cleaning, you start getting a better understanding of how this whole thing is put together, which is great. But as I said, this is one that I'm going to take it easy with. And yeah, see how I get along. And also, obviously, invite you, if you have any in-depth knowledge on this thing, to give me some advice. I really appreciate it. There are a lot of guys out there. I know that a lot of my subscribers know a hell of a lot more than I do, which makes me wonder why they watch my channel. I think it's for probably the comedy value. Or actually to see an idiot make mistakes. I love it too, don't worry. Okay, I'm going to leave off for now, do some more study, wait for your comments. And if you want to stick around for this project, please do, but don't count on this thing being a total success, because I can't promise anything. As I mentioned, this one is maybe the one that, yeah, a little bit more than I can chew, but we'll see. The reason I say that, let me just clarify. I'm not downgrading my knowledge. I know a lot of stuff. The part that I have problems with is when it comes to oldish digital electronics that mixes in with the analog. And the reason is a lot of that digital stuff, you really can't get anymore, or you can't reprogram it, because if it's a microcontroller here that needs reprogramming, where the hell would one get the software, the code? I just don't know. And I've had this experience with a Bang & Olufsen. It had a microprocessor that was gone, and some of the ROM was gone. I had to give up on that one. Unfortunately, it's still sitting here somewhere, but I just couldn't go ahead because it's just far too much hassle to try and really read the code and have to reprogram it. And just finding some of those chips is really painful. So when we move from analog into digital, if you go full digital, it's easy. But if you go from analog to digital and you got the two functions together, it can be a real bummer. It can be really tough to work out how they did this interaction back when they designed this. And I think this is from 80, I'm not sure now, but I think it's 85 or something. Yeah. So that's when I was finishing university. So it shouldn't be surprising or difficult, but it's just difficult to understand how the designers combine the two. At least it is for me, without going sort of in depth into this thing more than I'd want to. So yeah, okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you stick around for this project, which, as I said, will be taken pretty slowly, and I hope the result is faster. But I do hope you've enjoyed this, and if you did, please click like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so on Patreon. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now, and stay safe.